is Eric Appleton, who was born in Poughkeepsie, New York. He grew up in Colorado, and he currently lives in Brooklyn, New York. He spent at least a decade as the GED teacher and then as an educational director at the Fortune Society, which provides educational services and other wraparound services for formerly incarcerated people. He is a colleague of mine. And so his 3 statements are, he has always known that he wanted to be a math teacher. In 2013, he biked from Baltimore, Maryland to Portland, Oregon. And he's named after a dog. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Eric Appleton.
So hello everyone. So I want to talk about this thing I've been thinking about recently and connecting with people around. So it's about crowdsourcing curriculum. I just added this slide today. I was talking to a woman, Kim, from Michigan. I don't know if she's here, but she was describing her transition from K through 12 teaching to adult education, and it was a real shock for her. She was like, you know, teaching in adult education is like living on an island. The isolation she's feeling, there's no faculty meetings, there's no places to share curriculum. I think she's the lone math teacher in her site, and my guess is that's pretty consistent experience for many, many people. I'm hearing people talk about teaching in basements, and you know, and just the situation, this kind of support that we get in adult education is pretty minimal. I've been very lucky in my own experience to have full-time employment as an adult education teacher throughout my career, which I feel really lucky and privileged to have experienced that. Not only that, I worked in places where I was able to collaborate with other teachers and I was mentored, and you know, it's been sort of priceless to me. And I'm trying, in my role now and in what I'm doing now in terms of working with curriculum, I'm newly teaching science and helping other people to teach science, and I have no science background really, and I'm still learning math that I'm trying to teach, and I feel like that's the experience of many people, that we really have to be learning while we're doing this, and the expectations, as we all know, are really intense. And so I guess what I'm proposing is there a way that we can connect with each other, support each other, and help each other do this stuff because the work is so hard? So can we help each other help choose materials, design curriculum together, think through teaching decisions, because it is about the particular concrete decisions that we make in the classroom, and lend support to each other because this work is so hard. And I don't know, I want to stay in this work, and I hope that other people will too, because it's really important, valuable work, as we know, right? So I want to talk, wait a second, I want to talk about just a sort of a particular specific experience I had where I had an idea, I wanted to teach this thing, I'm looking for connections between math and science, and I've been reading about genetics and reading about evolution and trying to educate myself, and I ran across this quote that was sort of pretty interesting to me. So the quote was, with adequate food and nutrients, a population of E. coli can double in under 20 minutes. Because bacteria multiply so rapidly, mutations can spread rapidly in a population and can change the characteristics of that population. So I was trying to understand sort of natural selection and genetic change at a specific, you know, moment here, but I was also thinking about how this might apply to math concepts. And so I just took that quote, typed it into an email, found a quick image of some E. coli, and sent it to some friends, you know, some trusted colleagues. I'm thinking about a science math lesson. Could you give this a quick read? What do you notice? What questions do you have? Thanks, Eric. I wrote a little bit more, but you know, you get the idea. And so this is what I got back. The text up top's the same, right? So what do you notice? What do you wonder? So these are just some, I got a lot back, but these are some of the highlights, right? So what do you notice? I noticed 2 similar shapes. One is splitting. It made me think of Henrietta Lacks and the cancer cells. There's a white halo around the bacteria. They're oblong shaped. And what do you wonder? What questions do you have? Is the one on the left dividing, right? Maybe that's mitosis. I remember somebody talking about that. Are E. coli always bad for us? How can you take a picture like this of bacteria? Why does E. coli have a first initial, right? And my first initial. So what is their food supply? Us, right? So we're talking about food supply, right? So partially I'm starting to get a sense of like, how might this work in the classroom if I were to bring it? I'm getting some feedback quickly, maybe some ideas for spinning off in different directions. And so then I took those ideas and some other went back and forth, and then I reworked it into this newer stimulus. And I don't know if you can see from where you're at, but so there's some time signatures across the top, right? So we got 0 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, hour 20, and you see the bacteria. And then so a little bit more information here. E. coli, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, is the name of the type of bacteria that lives in the digestive tracts of humans and animals. It grows by splitting in half through a process called mitosis. And so I sent this out again to some trusted colleagues, and I got some feedback from Mark was one of them. I got lots of feedback, but I wonder if that final panel is too leading, right? If you notice, the final panel says 10 hours. And so maybe there's an implied question here that maybe you sort of can see what the implied question might be, right? How many, or what would it look like, or something like that. I wonder if the final panel is too leading, and if that might keep students from other wonderings. What if you had the blank box without the timestamp? Right, so it's not that that specific recommendation was, I mean, it was useful, but it wasn't like that was revelatory, right? But it's the fact that it's very specific choices that we're trying to make in the classroom to draw out what we want, right? And it was helpful because I just kind of like throwing things together. So then I taught the lesson, and I did take that out. And so this is a little hard to see here, but this is what happened in the classroom, a whole what do you notice and what do you wonder notes from that, right? And so just a few things. They look like sausages, the bacteria are increasing. It times by 2, it multiplies to the second power. Do E. coli come in different strains? Why does the bacteria continue to grow? Who is E. coli? Why do animals and humans get E. coli? There's a lot more to look at, right? But then you can see the students working on it. This was at the MCC where Solange and Charlie teach. And I took some photographs of student work, and so you can see that I reworked the worksheet a little bit, right? So this was a second version where I had them draw the next 2 stages, and then we did some in and out tables and trying to figure out what this rule, what this pattern might mean. And what I realized actually when I was looking at this work was that I really needed some help thinking about exponents, because I didn't really know how to scaffold from this step where they were sort of just doubling and doubling and doubling and filling their paper with all kinds of numbers, but I didn't really know how do I get them to 2 to the n. And so again, I got more help. And actually what happened next is that I shared it with other teachers, and they started to teach it as well. And so this worksheet here was from another teacher who taught the lesson, and she's like, this needs a worksheet. I'm going to make this worksheet. And so this is really a scaffolded approach to getting to exponential growth. And she made this beautiful visual display in her classroom, right? Nicer than I could have done. Other teachers, right? Patricia made this beautiful infographic, right? So, which was sort of a leaping off point from this lesson, I think, right? So the types of cells in the human body: red blood cells, eukaryotic cells, 57% prokaryotic bacteria cells, right? So whoa. So that's a new material that came out of that interaction. And then Patricia sent this suggestion as well, that I read somewhere that if bacteria grow exponentially every 20 minutes, the mass of bacteria after 2 days of growth would outweigh the Earth. Another math adventure. So I actually haven't calculated. Have you gotten a chance? Not yet. Well, so you should do that when you get home. Is that true? We don't know yet. Okay. So. And then the next thing I did is I sort of reworked the lesson again, and I shared it through a website and some other listservs. This Collect Ed New York is a website that we put a lot of stuff up on now. And so a number of teachers have now taught this lesson, and that's kind of exciting to me. And I've actually continued to rework it on people's suggestions. So basically what I'm suggesting is that we collaborate with other teachers to develop and improve lessons and in short, improve our teaching. But I don't think it needs to start with much more than an idea, like just a trigger, a stimulus, something that's interesting to us, something that's intriguing. And we have some trusted colleagues. We have a lot of people in the room right here. Send it out, ask other teachers for feedback, then try teaching the lessons, try teaching the materials you get, and then share it. And then it may be together we can sort of help support the work that we're all doing. So thank you all.
And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, and under 10 to a close. Please put your hands together for all of us. I feel both humble and soaring, so I hope that you feel similarly. In terms of next steps, you have the ANN website. We will post these videos as soon as possible. Please go back. I was taking notes copiously, but I need to see all of those things again. And they will be there.
And
adultnumeracynetwork.org. But there's an even better way to find out. Does anyone remember what the better way is? To learn more information about ANN and to find, go over to Margaret, who's got some information for how you can become a member of that group. So you are a member of the people in this room, but you can also become a member of the group. Continue to use that hashtag as these ideas seep in. I know I'm still processing, but as they occur to you, let's keep talking about it. Let's keep thinking about it through the internet. And if you're not, again, on Twitter, you can do it on the CoWave app. But again, I think that's it. That's all I have to buy. Thank you all very